It's Sunday, April 11th, and this is the Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club monthly workshop. And we're getting started. I'm Elke Baker, and I'm going to ask people who are here if they want to just sign in via chat and say something like where they are. I mean, not specifically, but generally. So I'm going to say, hi, I'm in Maryland. And we're getting started with a set of tunes from Cape Breton this month. Usually I get to make a trip to Cape Breton this last summer. That didn't happen because of COVID restrictions. And so I had to fall back on one of my old things, which is when I've been in Cape Breton, I keep my ears open and listen for good tunes, whether it's at a jam session or somebody plays at a ceilidh or whatever, wherever I find them. And so I'm always looking for the good Cape Breton tunes. And I make a list, then I start collecting tunes, make a folder of good tunes. And I had many tunes to choose from. So I just went through my list of good tunes that I've been wanting to learn, and I picked out some to learn and teach to you. So I'm going to start with one that turns out to be very topical. It's called The Flower in the Garden. Now, I didn't know when I picked it that it was called that because it was just given to me, what is that tune? Well, I think it's a Winston Scotty Fitzgerald tune. And while I have no doubt that Winston Scotty Fitzgerald may have played this tune, in fact, I'd say that's a pretty sure bet. This tune didn't come associated with any name. So I actually wrote to the master of Cape Breton tune names, Paul Cranford. If there's anybody who knows the names of tunes in Cape Breton, it's Paul. And Paul said that this tune was a traditional tune. He didn't think it's been published in a book before, so hooray, this is a good chance for you. And he said that Donald McClellan, one of the famous McClellan fiddlers, called it The Flower in the Garden, and so it's kind of come to be known under the name that he dubbed it. Now, Paul doesn't particularly think that Donald McClellan wrote it. It's just one of those tunes that the origin is a little bit mysterious. So if you're just joining us, I've asked people to just say where they are, and it gives me an idea of who I'm teaching to today. So here is The Flower in the Garden. It's a delightful jig. It's one of those ones that definitely gets played at sessions and ceilidhs and square dances in Cape Breton. The jig. It's in the key of G. So let's go ahead and learn this tune. No pickup note. You can make one up if you want. If I were to pick one, pick a pickup note for this, I might either start with the A note that's right next to the beginning, or I might use a D note. But there really isn't one. So let's just start at the beginning of the first measure, first note, which is a G. We're working in the key of G, and we're working on this jig in the key of G. And the first figure is this. So we're twiddling around with the G note, going to the F sharp just below it and right back. Now the Cape Breton jigs are not heavily dotted like a typical Scottish country dance jig might be. So it's nearly straight, not quite. There's a little more emphasis on the first note. And then we're up the arpeggio. D note, D note, and high G. So that's our beginning. How's that so far? If you're signed in to our YouTube channel and you can participate in the chat, I welcome your feedback, live feedback during this live stream, because I can see it and I can respond to it. Now it's a little bit time delayed compared when you write the question or the comment and when I respond and react to it. But I do see them. So we've just started out the Flower in the Garden jig with, from here, we're going to be working with a scale. We go right up from this G note to the high B and right down the scale. And that takes us to the first note of the third bar. So here's the second bar. G note, scale, and the downbeat of the next bar. Here's the third bar. The third bar is so that D note that we landed on at the end of that last sequence was actually this downbeat. We twiddle up, so up to the E note, back to the D, and then down the arpeggio. And then here's the end of the phrase. The 4-bar half phrase is what I should probably term it. It's up the scale from F sharp. We just were on a G, so right neighboring note. And then C and down from there. So 2 miniature scales. I would like to put this 4-bar phrase together. Here's what we have so far. We have G, an arpeggio going up, a scale coming down, a little bit of arpeggio figure coming down, and then a miniature scale up, miniature scale down. Here's how it goes. So far, any questions on that first phrase? I am going to continue on with the next phrase because it's very similar. We're starting in exactly the same way with the first two bars. Familiar? I hope. And here's how we wrap up the phrase. We have a scale. Just right up from that D note, a scale up. The next triplet is an arpeggio up from that D note. So it's D, F sharp, and A. So putting the two figures together, we have a scale up from the note D and an arpeggio. So a little more fluidly. And then let's wrap up that phrase because it's kind of telling us, oh, you need to come to a conclusion there. So this scale followed by arpeggio leads to the note G. Two G notes there to conclude the phrase. So here's the second 4-bar phrase. Repeated material from the first 4-bar phrase. Scale, arpeggio, and final G. Same phrase. Let's do that same 4-bar phrase. Now, anybody who may be wondering about bowing in this jig, it's very forgiving. You can go any direction you want. It really doesn't matter. I tend to start tunes down bow, but if it gets off, it's not going to hurt anything in this tune. So just don't worry about it. So that second 4-bar phrase, let's put it together with the first 4-bar phrase. That starts exactly the same for the first 2 bars, but it does not wrap up in that conclusion. Instead of the scale, arpeggio, final notes, we have and that is the ending 2 bars of the first 4-bar phrase. So let me play the whole thing together. I'll put together the first 4-bar phrase with the second 4-bar phrase. We'll get the entire 8-bar sequence for the A part of this tune. Let's do it again. that A part of the Flower in the Garden, a traditional Cape Breton tune. Any questions on it so far? You may have noticed sometimes I'm slipping in a pickup note. It's just whatever pickup note I feel like putting in, whatever's convenient, because there's no set pickup note for this tune. And I'm also going to note that when we go on to the second part, there's a pickup note to the second part. So you just cut short that second G enough to fit it in. So here's what happens in the second part. The second part has, we just finished with. So instead of holding that out, we're going to cut it short and go right into the pickup notes. So 2 pickup notes, D, C. So just find those 2. Well, excellent. That's sounding really good. And so those notes lead into a series of dotted quarter notes. So each one of these lasts a full beat of the jig. So those notes, B, D, C, E, but with some pretty obligatory ornaments in them. So I'm just going from the prior note, changing the fingering late after the beat. And the same thing happens with the C note and the E. Now I just played that E on the open string. However, it's a real Cape Breton thing to play the 4th finger and the open string as a way of thickening the note. So if you want to do and put that ornament in there. However, be sure you double the note. This Cape Breton use of the 4th finger is not in substitute for the open string. It's in tandem with it. It's intended to enrich the note, create sort of a ring-along effect. So, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in tune. You don't have to sit there fussing over, is my 4th finger exactly in tune? You don't want it outrageously out of tune, because that just sounds gross. Yuck. But there it's just a little hair different from the open string, and so it provides a thickness. It's kind of like the way accordions have their extra sets of reeds tuned. They're not actually tuned exactly in pitch. They're tuned slightly off to create a warble. And that's an on-purpose effect. So that's done with that Cape Breton 4th finger. So we have our pickup notes, D, C. The 4 long notes. And then we have a familiar figure. Those 2 bars, the 3rd and 4th bars of the phrase, are borrowed from the 3rd and 4th bars of the A part. So we have this is the arpeggio down with the little twiddle at the top. And the little scales. So let's do that 4-bar phrase with the pickup notes. some really good news. There's nothing else new in this tune. It's just reassorting some of the things we already know. So we're going to use this long note phrase that's the signature of the B part of this tune. And the second ending for the second 4-bar phrase is the scale, arpeggio, and G. So here's the second 4-bar phrase of the B part again. Let's do that again. Again. Very good. So let's put together the B part with the pickup notes. They also help with recycling the B part when you repeat. So pickups are D, C, little scales, how's that going? Are you ready to put together the whole tune? Let's go ahead and do it. So here is the beginning, just as a reminder. We're still using the same ends of phrases in both the A part and the B part. But in the A part, what did we have? We had a twiddle that led to the up or the arpeggio. So G and a scale. First ending. Same figure. Scale, arpeggio, and garden, and people are speculating. Yeah, it sounds familiar. This tune played all the time, and that was why it was weird that I didn't have a title for it or a written source for it. And if anyone would know a title or a written source, it would be Paul Cranford. And Paul said, this one's traditional. It didn't really have a name. Donald McClellan called it The Flower in the Garden. And that name kind of latched onto it and stuck. But we don't know who wrote it. It was probably composed for dancing. Sounds like a really good dance tune. And I know for a fact it's played at jam sessions, such as, for example, the Blue Mist session that tends to happen in the summers in Cape Breton. And I just thought it would be appropriate to show you in the garden. This is my garden. I took this just before I started, and it is a good time for flowers in the garden. So if you're watching this later in some other season, or if it's not very spring-like where you are, then you just think of flowers in the garden. But right here, right now, very topical. Did Buddy teach this tune to us many years ago? No, Buddy did not. I actually have a recording of that workshop that Buddy did in year 2 of Fiddle Club. We're now in year 28, so it was a while ago. But no, Buddy didn't teach this one. Buddy certainly played this one. So, and speaking of Buddy, that is a perfect segue to my next tune. So Buddy had a fantastic repertoire. He played a lot for dances, but one of the things that he would do is learn not just tunes that were in circulation from other players, but he'd also learn tunes out of books. So he was, kind of single-handedly responsible for creating and introducing to others a whole lot of tunes that maybe hadn't been played frequently in Cape Breton. Tunes would catch his ear. Now, this is one that's really associated with Buddy. He called it Gillis' favorite. So I'm not sure which Gillis, but I'm sure Gillis played it and or liked it at the very least. And this tune is pretty cool in a couple of respects. One thing, it's not evenly distributed between the A part and the B part. The A part is twice as long as the B part. That's how Buddy always played it. Secondly, the two parts are in different modes. So while the A part of Gillis' favorite is in, kind of regular D major, the second part, the B part, is in D modal or Mixolydian mode of D. So you would get C sharps in the A part, but C naturals in the B part. Let me play the tune for you so you know how it sounds, and then we'll work on learning it. And so forth. It doesn't quite have a stop. So let me introduce you to this tune. Key of D, but like I said, D major and D Mixolydian mode. But in the beginning, D major. And we have two pickup notes, F sharp and G, leading up to A, which is the start of our first full bar of music. So here's from the top of the first bar. Locate those notes. All right, so there we have the second part of that bar is an arpeggio figure, D, F sharp, and A. Okay, so here we have the pickup notes. Okay, and then in the second bar, assuming we're ready to go on, B, high B, and a G natural. This is a low second finger if you're watching out for those things, which I hope you are. And that's a burl. 3 quick notes. They're usually easier to do down bow than up. I've explained this before to people who've come to workshops before, but if you're new to the burl, there's an ideal place to do that, approximately in this section of your bow. If you're not playing a bowed instrument, there are many different techniques depending on the instrument. On keyboards, you usually run 3 fingers on the same note. If you're playing a wind instrument, you may have to flutter your tongue, kind of that sort of motion to make this burl happen. So let's put together the 2 first measures of this tune with the pickup notes. Let's do it again. Again. Okay, how are we doing so far? So far, so good. All right, I'm going to move on to the next phrase. It's a parallel rhythm. And the figures are similar, but not exactly the same. So in the beginning, we had we are actually going to take that 1 note down for bar 3 and its pickups. So 1 note down the scale. Let me do the close-up of that. The pickup notes are E and F sharp. So instead of F sharp and G, E and F sharp. 1 note down the scale. And that means that our figure is going up from G down to the E note. arpeggio in this case is not D, F sharp, A, but C sharp, E, G natural. Find those notes. So here's the third bar with its pickup notes put together. Again. All right, the fourth bar, not one note down. It's again to the high B and then to an A instead of the G note. In the second bar we had, here we have B, A. So find those notes. So here are the second mini phrase, third and fourth bars of the A part with pickups. Again. All right, I'm going to move along to the third small phrase because that third small phrase is the same as the first. So bars 5 and 6, same as bars 1 and 2, including the pickup notes. So that should be familiar. And here's bar 7 with the same start. And here is where it departs. This is the different ending for the end of the phrase. So we started that bar the same. Instead of going up to the arpeggio, instead we jump from the C sharp up to the high B and down the scale. Let's practice that. That F sharp is the first note of the last bar of the phrase. So with the pickup notes, again. And the ending. F sharp to D. The last two bars. Okay, how are we doing? You ready to put it all together? Excellent, let's do it. So, Gillis favorite. Now, Buddy never specified Gillis's or, we don't have to worry about the apostrophe, is it apostrophe S or S apostrophe, or is it plural or not plural? Anyway, we don't have to worry about that. It's just Gillis, the last name. Gillis, favorite. And since it's from Canada, favorite is spelled the Canadian way with a U, F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T-E. So Gillis, favorite. Here's the A part put together. One note lower. And B, A. Same as the first. Starts the same. Jump up for the scale. And F sharp D. Again. All right, so let's move on to the B part. I'm hoping that you've got that A part, those 8 bars that repeat for Gillis' favorite. We have a segue. It goes from the A part to the B part. We just had so we're headed into the B part with 3 pickup notes. So we cut short that last, and the pickup notes are simply a scale from high B, leading to that F sharp. So find those 3 notes. Let's put them in context with the last bar. And that's where we're headed. Once more on that. All right, now let's move on to the B part itself. This is the modal part of the tune. If you play C, it's a C natural. Now, I'm going to point out, if you're an old style Cape Breton player, the difference between C sharp and C natural is not that great. It's kind of that C supernatural as there sits in the crack in between C natural and C sharp. But it's chorded differently. So the ear is perceiving that shading. It's just perceived as a C natural as opposed to a C sharp. And that's just a slight difference. I'm not going to play it with that old style shading for this learning purpose. I'm going to play it as a standard C natural. So here's the B part of the tune. Lots and lots and lots of burls. There's a reason we practice burls, right? So B part, F sharp to D, burl. Now, I mentioned before that burls are frequently more easily done down bow. If you're having an easier time doing them up bow, fine. I'm not going to argue with it. But you probably will want to be consistent about the direction of your burling in this tune. So you might need to slur other notes to be consistent about that. Otherwise, you'll be burling up, then down, then up, then down, then up. And it might get harder than it needs to be. So be consistent about the direction of your burling in terms of bowing. Make it a little easier on yourself. So here's the B part. We started with F sharp to D burl. The second half of that bar is a G to C natural and burl. And that would be accompanied by a C chord. So we're no longer in our standard D major territory. D chords and C chords in this part. So I mentioned about needing to slur to get a consistent bow direction. Since I prefer to do my burls down bow, I'm slurring that second pair of eighth notes in the bar just to make sure that I get there. There we go. The next bar, second bar of the B part. So, putting the two bars together, it's this. Again. Pickups to the next part. C, B. And the third bar. A to D, burl. And the second half of that third bar is a C quarter note with a B burl. Practice that just a little bit. That C, B. And this is the shocking thing about this tune, because it's a burl on a note that is not the same as the one prior to it. It's a little trickier to say, oh yeah, we're changing fingers and we're burling at the same time. It's not really that hard, but it's not consistent with the prior pattern, so it comes as a bit of a surprise. So that third bar put together, that's it. So I'm going to mention one thing, is that every burl is a bowed ornament. It's a bowed decoration. It's always allowed to put in a different bowed decoration. And so the easiest substitute, especially if you're having a day where the burls just aren't working, you can substitute a quarter note. Now, does it sound as good? No, but it's allowed. So if your burl is not going to happen, quarter note is a fair substitute. It doesn't change your bow direction either, so that's a very convenient substitute. You can also substitute a cut. So that was da-dum. It's a snap rhythm. That changes your bow direction. You could view that as an asset if you're trying to change bow direction. So it's just as well to know that that's a viable substitute and works in certain circumstances pretty well. So here's what we have. We have so far the 3 bars of the B part. to round out the phrase, repeating that A to D burl. So it's one more time. Now, I'm not repeating this yet because we need the turnaround. The turnaround for the B part is the same as the pickup notes. It's that string of 3 notes. I, B, A, G, which takes us into the phrase again. So let me put that together with the turnaround. So I do have a bowing that I prefer because that 4th bar of the phrase, it starts this last group of 4 notes on an up bow. I tend to slur the first 2 and then separate the second 2 so that I'm able to start the phrase again on a down bow, which gives it kind of a clean and forceful entrance. So I like to do that rather than other options. There are other ways to do it. There's no harm in doing it up, down, but then you have to start the phrase on a slur, which is just not quite as powerful. So I prefer to get that slur out of the way a little earlier there. All right, so that gets you around the bowing issue. The B part is only 4 bars long, repeated. So let's play that B part. Remember, it started out with a, all right, with that 3-note lead in as a transition from the A part. So we'll go ahead and do that. Transition. All right. I would like to bring us back to the A part of this tune so that we remember how it went. Anybody remember that? Do you remember the 2 pickup notes? Do you remember that sequence? It went like this. Does that sounding familiar? I had a hard time talking and playing at the same time. In fact, I used to not be able to do it. If I was playing and somebody asked me a question, I'd just be like, I can't make any sounds. But I did learn how to say first 1-syllable words and then finally actual phrases that had meaning. But it doesn't mean that I can speak perfectly while playing. So one of them usually goes out the window, and in that last phrase, I actually missed a slur I wanted to do because I was trying to talk at the same time. So let's go back to the Gillis favorite. A part, pickup notes, F sharp and G, up to our high sequence. And then that sequence repeats one note lower, except and the end of the phrase is back up to the high B and A. We repeat that again. And then we have an ending that jumps up to the high B down the scale to our ending. 8 bars. That repeats. And then with the transition, da, 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 onto the B part, that's modal, which is only 4 bars long, repeated. And then back to the top of the tune. I'll get to that part. But let's play the tune all the way through. Transition. Now, that's not 8 bars times 2. That's just 8 bars. The 4 bars repeated. It's time to go back to the top of the tune. And it's time to learn that transition. Now, I got a little notice that there's an artifact of a funny noise. That's, in fact, people sending me text messages which vibrate. And I'm moving it so it won't make quite as much noise when it vibrates now. All right, so we're going to go up the scale. So instead of using the same pickup notes, we have a little scale sequence from the end of the tune. You see how that fits in? It's just up the scale. And we're off to the races. So I'm going to play 8 bars of the B part so that we can make that transition. Play along. You just have to go into another tune. It encourages exactly what is done in Cape Breton, which is to medley one tune after another, after another, after another, probably mostly in the same key or in closely related keys or modes. And then it and then it just repeats probably twice through this tune in its form, where it's an extended A part and a not extended B part. It kind of really whacks out my dance musician sense, because I'm so used to playing for dances where it's actually important whether you have 16 bars or 32 bars, or keeping the A part and the B part straight. And for most Cape Breton squares, that doesn't matter. The squares on the floor will dance at different rates, and so you don't try to time it for them to complete their figures. You just play until everybody's completed the figures. And so you just need to have a lot of tunes. And if some of them have an extended A part, shorter B part, that's going to be okay. It works. It works with the style of dance that it's meant to be for. So that is our second tune by ear, Gillis' favorite, from the repertoire of Buddy McMaster. We have a number of other Cape Breton tunes, but the question is, are you up for another one by ear, or are you ready to move on to sheet music? So send me something from the live chat as to what you would rather do. I'm perfectly happy to teach you another tune by ear, and I'll give you a candidate. I think the best ear tune for a third ear tune would be another jig that I have here, and here is how it goes. It's a tune that was composed by Howie MacDonald, and as far as I know, there isn't a book of Howie MacDonald tunes, but he's composed quite a few, and they're in circulation in Cape Breton, and lots of fun. Quite a few good tunes. We've had some Howie MacDonald tunes in Fiddle Club on occasion. I do not recollect the exact book or page number when we had a Howie MacDonald tune, but I'm sure we've had them. And this one is called Francis O Coyne, and here's how it goes. That doesn't end, and you probably noticed that key change in the middle. It's a tune in the key of D, but it has an entire half of it in B minor. So I didn't hear from anybody as to whether they want to learn this by ear, so I'm just going to assume that you do. Here we go. Key of D, the pickup note is A, and here's the first figure. So gap scale going down. Second bar, same beginning. Climbing up so that we can go somewhere else. Next figure in bar our 3 scale coming down from the F sharp. And then we have a built-in ornament figure rolling right up. Usually slur those 3 notes together from the B, C sharp, and D. And we're at the end of the phrase. And I'm going to add the turnaround. So here's the top of the phrase again. And again, same thing. As we continue on, it's the same start. You know, that turnaround gives us that A pickup note automatically. Same start. It's all the same. And land on the D. So there you are at a resolution. So the second 4-bar phrase, basically the same except the end. And it resolves. So here is the entire A part of Francis O Coyne by Howie MacDonald. So that's the first half of the tune. How's that going? All right, well, we'll move on to the second half. And here's where we spend the second half pretty thoroughly in the key of B minor. The pickup note for the second half is an E. And here's how it starts. So parallel figure. But now in a minor key. Here's how it continues. Now that's how it's written. You can do different ornaments. This tune has caught on in Irish circles, and the Irish players would do a roll there. But that really changes the character. That's not a very Cape Breton style of ornament, and since I'm teaching this as a Cape Breton tune, I'm not going to do the roll. But you could. You're allowed, just don't do it and call it Cape Breton style. finally got it right by the end of that sequence. So that was just repeating bars 1 and 2 of the B part. Here's the third bar of the B part. And that's a D at the end of the bar because it's leading somewhere else. A arpeggios. So it's just those A arpeggio notes. C sharp, E, A, E, C sharp, A. So here's the second 2-bar phrase, bars 3 and 4 of the B part. Again. Okie doke. Now, so as it continues on, there's a slight variation going on. So this is now bar 5, second phrase of the B part, and it's it adds in an A note. And I'm putting an ornament on that as I get there. The bar 6, so it's the equivalent of the second bar of the 4-bar phrase, is a slight variant. Instead of it's so just one note different. Instead of it's, and then the second half of the bar is the same. All right, so a little twist. Now we're closing in. This is almost the end. Bar 7 of the phrase, temporarily in the key of D. Built-in ornament. And the last bar. Again. So the ending 2 bars as a phrase. Again. All right, here's the B part put together. Pickup note is E. Put it together with the beginning of this tune. And the beginning of this tune was in the key of D. The pickup note was A. You're right. right. So that is Francis O Coyne, and that's by Howie MacDonald. It's one that's had very wide circulation among Irish-style fiddlers as well as Cape Breton-style fiddlers. So it's really gotten around. You'll hear different versions of it with different types of ornamentation, and played for different style purposes. All right, I think we'll go to sheet music now, and I'll also take this opportunity to make a few announcements. So what do I have on my announcements list? Let's see. Oh, okay, I've got one here. Coming up this weekend, which is the 16th, 17th, 18th, is the Spring Fiddle Hell Workshops. This is an enormous fiddle workshop weekend, and it's an online weekend. It has, in 4 years, been in person in New England. But now you don't have to be in New England to go to Fiddle Hell. You don't have to travel there because it's all online. There are 200 live workshops, 35 live concerts, 35 live jam sessions on Zoom, and it's directed mainly towards fiddle, mandolin, cello, guitar, old-time banjo, and singing. All of the sessions, if you register for this event, are going to be replayable, which means that you can slow them down or pause and learn everything that you want to learn for several months after the event. So how to do it? I'm going to go ahead and type the link into the chat. So the link is fiddlehell.org, and that will tell you how to register and go to events at that. I'll be playing a concert at Fiddle Hell on Saturday, April 17th, in the afternoon, late afternoon. So look up the schedule online, and I hope to see you there. So that is one event that's coming up. Let's see, I have another event, which is a Scottish dance and concert in Iowa. This is going to be done by Zoom. And let's see, for that one, I very cleverly took a screenshot of this, and then now I can't get the link. So let me look it up. There we go. And yeah, here we go. So there is a Zoom link for this. So instead of putting the Zoom link in the chat here, I'm going to give you an email address for the organizer of this event, which is this. LindaSuzanne@AOL.com for Iowa concert and dance. And that is on May 1st. And that is another online event. She'll send you the Zoom link if you're interested. So just contact her. Let's see what other events I have. Okay, I guess that's it for events that I know about coming up. There are also some things that happen on a regular basis. Barbara McOwen has been running a Scottish, I guess what she calls an intermediate jam, on the second Saturday of each month in the afternoon, so that it can reach people in a broad range of time zones. And that's been gathering lots of people from different places for lots of fun tunes. So let me just write her name, and you can look her up online, Barbara McOwen, and I'll just write second Saturday jam sessions. Saturday Scottish jam sessions. All right, so those are the announcements that I have. For anybody joining these things after the fact, a lot of these events are not one time only and can be found by streaming recorded versions later. So if you missed the date of the event, don't despair. You may be able to find it again by registering after the fact and streaming it then. Let's see, a couple other things. I have launched my own YouTube channel, which is EB Fiddler. And I have posted some things on it. I have a bonus tune that did not fit in this month's Fiddle Club, which is related. And I'll tell you more about it later, but I'm posting that on my own personal YouTube channel. So if you want to do a close-up workshop on that particular tune that didn't make the cut here in Fiddle Club, you'll want to learn that one. Go to my YouTube channel. There's other things there too. And I'm going to be running a subscription series through my YouTube channel. So go ahead and get familiar with it. And I hope that I'll see you on that. What else do I have? Yes, I still have recordings for sale. I recorded 2 new albums in 2020. Nobody knows because I didn't have any gigs and nobody saw them. So if you don't have them, it's very likely you don't. Contact me and I'll tell you what I have that's new. It's available at the Fiddle Club sales web store. So let me just remind you what that is, which is Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle.org's web store. And you can find lots of things there, albums recorded by various Fiddle Club members, and Fiddle Club t-shirts and other goods. And in the members section, you can find back issues of Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club books of music. And these are our treasures. These are things that you cannot find anywhere else. These are tunes that have been selected and taught at past workshops. And it's a collection of tunes unlike anything you can buy anywhere. It's a variety of styles, historical periods, different things. And I'll be sending these announcement links and information to Pete so he can post it at Fiddle Club. And we'll have them both, some kind of evidence of them at our YouTube channel as well as on the webpage. All right, let's go to the sheet music. And if you did not yet download it, it should be available at the Fiddle Club website. Main page, there should be a link to it that you can get today. Otherwise, you can go through the members section. So we have book 28. This is our 28th year. And this is page 29 through 33, 5 pages of sheet music for today. So I'm going to go ahead and start teaching these. The Fiddle Club benefited from my eagerness, sort of like Dan Calodner calls this being a tune hound, where you sort of seek out, sniff out all the good tunes that are out there. When I go to Cape Breton, I attend as many ceilidhs as I can reasonably get to and attend jam sessions and whatever else there is out there, festivals. And when I hear a cool tune, I try to find out what it is and find a way to learn it and teach it to others. So this is one that I heard. I heard at one of the St. Anne's ceilidhs, and it's by Jean McNeil. Jean McNeil is the mother of all of the siblings who are part of the band, the Barra McNeils. They're a really talented family of musicians. They're from, I forget whether it's Sydney, North Sydney or Sydney Mines, but they're over on that part of Cape Breton. Lovely people, just a really wonderful family of excellent musicians. Jean McNeil wrote this tune. She plays piano, and she wrote this tune for Dan Huey McAkron, who was a fiddler who was a great friend and influence on Buddy McMaster's repertoire. Dan Huey was a great composer of fiddle tunes. We've had a number of Dan Huey McAkron's own compositions in Fiddle Club before. But this is one that Jean McNeil wrote for him. Here it is. So it is a 3-part march. Let's go ahead and play through it. Let's play just a little slower than that pace that I played, but not a lot slower. All right, Dan Huey McEachran's March. All right, I've got a Strathspey for you. It's Angus Ronald's Big Tune. I love that title. Angus Ronald's Big Tune as played by Donald Angus Beaton. So let me play this for you. This is a tune that could potentially be played with that so-called high bass tuning where the D and the G strings are tuned up. So you have A, E, A. So that native tuning, this tune would sound awesome in that tuning. However, I'm playing it in standard tuning. Donald Angus Beaton from Inverness County, West Coast, down by Mabu. All right. Angus Ronald's big tune. Let's move right along. On page 30, we have a tune that that Paul Cranford wrote. It's called Buddy's Repertoire. And I was mentioning earlier how that was one of the characteristics of Buddy McMaster's playing was just this vast repertoire that he had. You know, this interesting repertoire, not just people he knew, but places that he'd traveled and picked up tunes. I think he was a bit of a tune hound. I mentioned that term, and Buddy certainly was one. He had a vast repertoire. It was really interesting, and that in and of itself is one of the celebrated things that characterize Buddy's style. So Paul recognized this, I recognized this, and I remember talking to Paul not that long after Buddy passed away, and in 2014, and Paul mentioned that he'd written this march celebrating that aspect of Buddy's playing. So here's what Paul wrote about Buddy. He said, Buddy, who lived from 1924 to 2014, was one of the most loved fiddlers of his generation, remembered as a gentleman and fine fiddler, much in demand for concerts and dances. His legacy includes a repertoire highly imitated by others. That is absolutely true. In addition to his stock of older traditional tunes, Buddy was often the first to play new tunes, both ones composed by young local players as well as ones that he learned from musicians he met or books that he acquired during his travels to Scotland, Ireland, Shetlands, USA, other parts of Canada. Paul first heard Buddy play in 1977 in New Waterford, Cape Breton, a place called the Heather Tavern. And that particular afternoon, Buddy played hundreds of tunes. And Paul, at that time, was new to this music, and he sat there with one of the local experts, who just happened to be Doug McPhee, the celebrated Cape Breton pianist. And Doug gave him a running commentary on what tunes were being played. Paul started scribbling down all of these names, exhibiting, and even back then, Paul's tendency to know and want to know the name of every tune that he hears and learns. So I am grateful to Paul for collecting the tunes of Cape Breton and kudos to Paul Cranford for composing this in honor of this significant aspect of Buddy's style, Buddy's repertoire. So here's the march. Buddy's Repertoire. I hope you enjoyed playing that one. I'm going to just draw your attention to a couple other references in Fiddle Club. We featured in fall of 2014. Oh gosh, what book would that be? But I featured about 4 or 5 pages of tunes from Buddy's Repertoire. Not this particular tune, but tunes that Buddy played, especially ones that were particularly associated with him. And just like today, we had the Gillis favorite, particularly associated with Buddy's playing. Now we have this tune that Paul wrote. And I'm also going to mention another tune by Paul Cranford that we play quite frequently that's become a real session favorite at Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club, which is Union Street Session. And that kind of ties in with the earlier tune we learned, because the Union Street Session is referring to a session at the home of the McNeils. And Gene McNeil wrote that march that we learned at the beginning of the written music session, Dan Huey McAkron's March. I'm going to skip playing Francis O Coyne for now because we already learned it. And I'm going to skip learning us playing Flower in the Garden right now because we learned that one by ear as well. We're going to move on to the Harborview Jig. So the Harborview Jig, this is one that's by John Campbell. We've had tunes from John Campbell before. Probably John's most famous tune is Father Francis Cameron. But Sandy McIntyre's Trip to Boston is almost as famous as that. John Campbell, I knew John Campbell back when I lived in Boston, and he is a talented composer. Especially had a kind of a dancey style, not what I would call necessarily a particularly refined style. You wouldn't go and say, oh, a John Campbell concert, but if it was a John Campbell dance, you'd be like, I'm there, definitely want to dance to this guy's fiddling. John was a real character. He composed a lot of excellent tunes, and he usually had some interesting stories to tell about them. I don't know the story behind this particular jig, Harborview Jig, because I didn't learn it from John personally. In fact, I heard this one kicking around and I always thought it was some traditional Irish jig. And then I've come to find out it was actually written by John Campbell, which, in the end doesn't surprise me. So here's the Harborview Jig. Let me play it for you. And that is the Harborview Jig. You can probably tell by that vigorous rhythmic aspect to it, this would make a real kicker of a dance tune for a Cape square set. And I am absolutely certain that I've heard it played for square sets in Cape Breton. So here is how it goes. All right, I'm going to move right along to our next tune, which is one that I got from Jerry Holland, Dylan Brown. So I'm pretty sure that I've heard people play this live. I'm trying to remember if I heard Jerry play it live, which might be the case. I certainly heard it on one of Jerry's recordings. So if you look at Jerry Holland recordings, one of them has Dylan Brown on it. And here's how the tune goes. So there's an extended ending on the printed music here, which would only be played probably the last time as a sort of a finisher. So let me just play it as if it's the last time through the tune with that second B part. So it's just a flashy ending that you could use the last time through. Let's play Dylan Brown slower than that and build it up to speed gradually. That's Dylan Brown. All right. Well, we've arrived at page 33, and these are some of the most fun and interesting tunes in the whole set. This is actually the tunes that I said I would really like to do these tunes for Fiddle Club. Now, these are not necessarily the easiest tunes to do on fiddle. Here in the key of E flat, this is a set of showy hornpipes in E flat. It's very popular in Cape Breton, and I have wanted to learn these tunes for years, but they're not easily available. They are not easily available because they're not really found in printed collections. So I have a photo here. Let's see. Do I have this? Pretty sure I have it. Yeah, here we go. All right, I have to get my family to stop sending me group texts that they're going to interrupt this. Okay, here we go. So this man, Tommy Doucette, recorded a set of tunes that includes this group of E-flat hornpipes. And it also includes, there's this grand tradition of E-flat hornpipes that are showy. We've had a couple of them in Fiddle Club already. We've had Banks. We've had Madame Neruda. That's by J. Scott Skinner. This man, Tommy Doucette, whose picture I just showed you, recorded a classic recording of these E-flat hornpipes, including one that's sometimes known as Tommy Doucette's hornpipe. It's sometimes known as the Scarlet Clog. It's possible that he composed it. That's not known for sure. There's some ambiguity about that. One thing that's for sure is that these tunes really caught on in Cape Breton, and they've been recorded by others, including one of my favorite recordings of them, which is this one from Carl Mackenzie. The Carl Mackenzie recorded a set of these E-flat hornpipes, kind of in tribute to Tommy Doucette, I think. But these two particular tunes get played all the time as showpieces. They're not really the kind of tunes that you'd sit there and say, yeah, let's all jam in E-flat. Not too many people love jamming in E-flat, although you'll find people who do. But these tunes are so well loved, they're actually pretty well known. And if you did play them, you wouldn't necessarily have people sitting there fish-eyed. They'd actually say, yep, know that tune. So, the Autocrat, Tommy Doucette's set starts with this Tommy Doucette / Scarlet Clog. That's the one that I put on my bonus YouTube video. So you have to go to my YouTube channel to find that. And then the other sets that go with it are two tunes by a Scottish composer who lived in let's see, he was born in 1884, died in 1960. J.D. Mitchie is the man's name. He was from Brecon in Scotland. And he is the composer of the Autocrat and the Recluse, which are the two E-flat hornpipes that I included in Fiddle Club. So, the Autocrat. I'll play the two of them together because that's what Carl would do. And I actually used Carl Mackenzie's version, transcribed it rather than, trying to get Tommy Doucette's version or anybody else's version. There's some kind of awful and incorrect versions that floating around online in sort of your common tune source places. So be careful. They're not really that awesome. The Recluse, I have to give one caveat because I transcribed Carl's playing, but I fixed one thing where I believe that Carl may have played an arpeggio in error, and so I made him play it the right way. Don't tell anyone. So that was just one of those things where it was like a little editorial fix. And otherwise, this includes a lot of the special things, the things that Carl does to make it special. Okay, so the Autocrat and I'll follow it with the recluse. They're usually played, you know, if somebody launches into one of these E-flat hornpipes, they're probably going to play the whole set. So that was both of them. Let's do the autocrat. Let's play it slowly, and let's start by warming up on an E-flat scale, because that's a really good idea. This is not your standard keys of A and D and G. All right, so E-flat, F natural, G, this is a perfectly ordinary G, A-flat, B-flat, C, D, and E-flat. So those are some nice E-flat warm-ups. All right, the tune, Autocrat. And by the way, I'm just going to differentiate this. There is an autocrat, an autograph, an acrobat, and I think there's one more of these anyway, autocrat. This one starts with a triplet pickup, big jumps. That's a D flat. by the way, we had the acrobat in Fiddle Club, I think, when we did our workshop on Winston Scotty Fitzgerald a few years back, just a couple years ago. All right, the other one, The Recluse, also by J.D. Mitchie, same Scottish composer, and also Carl Mackenzie's version. Here's the slow, let's start slow and work it up just like we did with the other. Same mistake Carl made. And I just did it too. Oh boy. All right, well let's go over the ones that we learned by ear. Do you remember them? Do you remember the flower in the garden? Do you remember? Do you remember the Gillis favorite? Do you remember Francis O Coyne? Hey, let's just try them out, all right? I'll play them for you and you join in. You should know them by ear. And just a little note, both the Flower in the Garden, Gillis favorite, Francis O Coyne, they all presented problems in the written version that had to be solved by expanding them out and making them look huge. The tunes are not nearly as long and complicated as they look on the page. That is why I taught them by ear. All right, here's the Flower in the Garden. jigs, Francis O Coyne. Favorite. All right. So that is our selection of Fiddle Club tunes. Tunes from Cape Breton, tunes that I've collected at Kaylee's and jam sessions and just in general traveling around and hearing them. And I hope that you enjoyed this particular selection. I had a lot of fun putting them together, and in many cases, these are tunes that have been on my must-learn list for quite a while, and now I've learned them. So what a great thing. What a great treat. I'm just going to remind you of a couple of things. There are upcoming events. I will send a list of these things to Pete. I did not mention earlier, but I'm going to be resuming my outdoor concert series, and if you'd like to be invited to those, I will send out notices and you can receive an invitation. I do not have the dates picked yet, but there'll be as many of them as we can find hosts who are willing to host an outdoor concert in your yard or in your community green or whatever it is that you have. And there are the events that I mentioned coming up, the Fiddle Hell Online Workshop Weekend. I'll be doing a concert through Glen Echo on April 23rd. And trying to think what other events are coming up that I haven't mentioned yet. Oh, go to my YouTube channel, EB Fiddler, at YouTube, and just look it up. And there I will be posting the other E-flat hornpipe that goes with Autocrat and Recluse, a learning video for that, so that you can learn it similarly to the way we learn it here at Fiddle Club. And thank you, and hope to see you at the jam session tonight. You should have received a Zoom invitation, and you can also follow the jam session on a YouTube live stream this evening after our dinner break. So see you soon for the jam. Take care.